Welcome, everyone.
Welcome.
I feel like Effie Trinket every time I say that. Welcome to Those Working Fangirls, where we talk all things nerdy, book, fandom, pop culture in this podcast, and how they integrate into our adult lives. This is episode 4. I'm Natasha.
I'm Christine. Hello.
And today we're talking about the Disney movies that shaped us and shaped our young lives, and maybe how they influenced, how we think and how we feel and just who we are as adults. You never know.
Yeah, we're taking a nostalgic nosedive into our childhoods through the lens of Disney. So it should be a fun time. We all have our own Disney experiences with those movies growing up. We all have that one that we were obsessed with. So we're going to be digging into all that. But first, we're going to talk about our snap, crackle, pop culture news. What were you saying?
I was just trying to say it with you.
That was so delayed. You're just like,
pop.
Today we have a big Taylor Swift segment. So, tickets for Taylor Swift's Eras Tour went on sale this week, and it was a whole deal. It was the Taylor Swift Hunger Games. It was a very stressful Tuesday, and I think I'll start. Sorry, go ahead.
I just think I just seen so much about buying tickets, and the main thing is people got tickets, but they aren't excited by it because of how stressful it was. So Christine, take it away with our story.
Yeah. So, I mean, we know that we had to pre-register. If you were here the last couple of weeks, we talked about it. In order to even be a part of this pre-sale, you had to pre-register. And then even if you pre-registered, it wasn't a guarantee that you're going to get an email being like, you were selected as a verified fan. Only a certain amount of people got that. So I got that. Natasha got that. I got it earlier in the day, and I had already gotten an email being like, you are selected for a boost. Ha 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 ha. Everyone who got this boost got fucked over. No one actually got a boost. And I saw a theory that they reversed it, and the people who got a boost weren't boosted, and everyone else was boosted. And I think it makes sense because Natasha actually ended up being boosted. It felt like the way that her line worked.
Yeah.
Anyway. Oh my God. So we strategized the night before because we're trying to get tickets together. So we're both going to be on, and whoever gets in first is going to grab the tickets and get as good a seats as we can get. We're just we want the best seats we can get. We're we've been waiting our lives for this. I'm so excited.
Christine got us Lover Fest West tickets, and we were so excited for that because she was only doing 2 shows in the States, and then of course the pandemic happened and it had to be canceled.
Yeah,
so
we had tickets for Lover Fest West. I was just the most excited ever in the history of the world when I got those tickets. And that had been based on a system of how many merch items you bought off of her shop. I think we talked about this, and how many times you watched the music videos. There were certain things you can do to up your place in line. And so we had all been doing that, but I had gotten the furthest on the list, so I got the best chance at tickets. Anyway, so they told us that if you had Loverfest tickets, you'd be given priority. La 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 la. So we strategized the night beforehand, and I'm sure all of you are doing this with your TSWIFT pals who are going into the presale. You had to pick a day and stick to that day because there's no hopping around in line. My neighbor's friends were texting her being like, oh, we also could do this day and this day. And she's like, we have to pick one day.
Yeah.
There's no hopping around. You get in a waiting room and then you are committed. So I, in the morning, am up at 9 at the computer, even though it doesn't start till 10. And it said that there's a waiting room that opens half an hour beforehand. So I'm in it, and there's just a countdown for the date that I chose. And I'm watching it tick down, and I take a picture of it, and I send it to Natasha. I'm like, are you ready? 25 minutes left. But nothing said waiting room, So I was like, I guess this is the waiting room. But there was never anything that said waiting room. And then at the 8-minute mark, when there's 8 minutes to the 10 a.m. presale, and this is the 10 a.m. West Coast, so the entire rest of the United States is already on Ticketmaster, just fighting tooth and nail to get in line to get these tickets, because it was crashing over and over again for everybody. And I just read a quote from Ticketmaster. So they were expecting 1.5 million verified Taylor Swift fans, but 14 million people were trying to get tickets. And the problem is, these dumbasses, sorry, Ticketmaster, you're not, I feel like you did this very dumb. You gave us access codes, but you didn't have to put the access code in until you got to the front of the line and were trying to buy tickets. You should have had us put the access code in to get into the pre-sale at all, to even click on the date, because that's the point of the code, is to restrict the amount of people that can get in there, but everyone could get in. So everyone was just waiting and didn't necessarily have a fucking access code to actually buy the tickets once you got to the front of the line, because you didn't need to put it in. So anyway, I get kicked out 8 minutes from the 10 o'clock point, and I start to panic and just refresh. And it's just saying error, 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 until we're 3 minutes out. And it pops back up, and I'm like, oh, thank God. But the countdown that was 8 minutes away, and now should be 3 minutes away, said 3 days till the next sale. And I was like, wait, no. I'm in the pre-sale. I'm a verified fan. I was logged in. I checked all my shit. That's why I was there at 9 a.m. And I was supposed to be in the waiting room. What's going on? And then I start to refresh and panic. Do I have to click the link from my phone? So I start doing that. And once it hits 10:05, I'm crying, because I can't even get onto Ticketmaster now. It starts to be when you refresh, nothing's even there. And you would be embarrassed for me if you saw how hard I was crying by 10:10. Because I was like, I'm not getting tickets. We're not going to be able to go to the tour. And Natasha's not answering any of my text messages. I was frantically texting Natasha, and no answer at all. I was like, is Natasha dead over there? I'm so confused. Is she okay? How come she's not responding? This is so unlike her. So, come 10:20, I have broken down into hysterics. I think I pulled a muscle from carrying too hard. I was crying when you break up with someone. It was painful. When you're crying, you're this is gonna hurt later. That's what was happening. And then my neighbor, who she was also trying to get Taylor Swift tickets, but she was trying for Arizona, so she was the time zone before. She was in and out in 10 minutes, okay? I couldn't believe her experience compared to mine. So I'm texting her and Natasha, but one of my frantic string of texts to Natasha actually went to her. She was like, I'm so sorry. And then she sent me a blur from Ticketmaster that said that they had to move all the West Coast pre-sales to 3 p.m. because the site was completely crashing, because all of the United States was then trying to get on, and it was too much at the same time. And it wasn't just the pre-sale people, it was fucking everybody.
Meanwhile, I was asleep.
Natasha slept through this entire experience.
So the night before, I wasn't thinking about it, but I had scheduled a photo shoot and people were coming over to my house. And I'm like, okay, that's not going to happen until 2. So we should be done with Taylor Swift tickets by then. But it had happened before Taylor Swift had announced. So it was hard to maneuver that around. So I was up late, cleaning my house, and then I went to bed, and then my dog's been having a very he's been going through an anxious time, and so he was keeping me up until 5, and so I really didn't fall asleep into deep sleep probably until about 5:30 in the morning. And so that's how I slept through my 3 alarms.
So
I woke up at 11:30.
Yeah, and she has 50 texts from me, and I'm should I call her?
I can't look at them.
I'm legitimately concerned for her at this point, because I'm I don't understand. We talked about this last night. She should be here. I was should I text Alex? Was there a family emergency? I was nervous for you.
I'm I just want want to know why you didn't call me or why you didn't text Alex. Because, like, you didn't hear from me for, like, 2 hours.
Well, no. I did. It was by the time this had been done, like, I was, like, on the phone with my mom. So when I got off the phone, I was going to call you.
Oh, that's
and
right.
then you answered my text. You were like, oh, my God, I slept through it.
I woke up in a fright. I don't think I've jumped out of bed so fast before in my entire life. I was like, Taylor Swift tickets! And I'm like, did I miss it? And I looked down at your text like half awake and I'm like, oh, it was rescheduled. Oh, thank the Lord God Almighty, dear Jesus.
Yeah, I was so anxious and emotional that, like, it was hard to think clearly. My mom's like, Christine, it's gonna be okay, even if you can't go. And I was just, like, at the point of no return. I'm like, you don't understand how much I care about this. You don't understand. So now it's going to happen at 3. So I have like 4 hours where I'm supposed to, quote, work. So I have to work on my book. But I think I wrote like 4 sentences. I kept the page up the entire time. Even when I left for like a snack, I left it up on my computer because I was like, I want to be in the waiting room when the waiting room opens. Okay. And again, it said 30 minutes before the waiting room opened. So my page had been open this entire day. And I had basically been staring at it all day because I'm too anxious about it to actually write. So come time 2:30, no waiting room. But I'm just sitting here waiting, and I decided to make a TikTok to be productive. So I did make a TikTok and was productive with my sitting here. But at the same time, I was upset because there's no waiting room, and then at 8 minutes too, it refreshes and puts us in a waiting room. And I was like, how long has everyone else been in the waiting room? You know, how did this fucking waiting room work? It obviously wasn't working because Natasha got in like a minute after me, right, into this waiting room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, are you talking about the time? Because I got in at the 30 minutes beforehand, but then like
Yeah.
I guess
No, it
then
kicks
it
you
kicked
out.
me out.
It kicked us out. Yeah, there was like an error
Yeah.
code, and then it was like you are now in the waiting room because before it didn't say
Well,
that.
That didn't happen to me. I kept refreshing it, and then I just kept getting an error message, and then I had to open an incognito window and log in to my account that way, and that's how I was able to get into the waiting room.
So you refresh and you got into the waiting room, and
Yeah, after
then,
like 5 times.
yeah. So we finally get into this fucking waiting room, and it says 2,000 plus people in front of you in line. And instead of like gradually moving forward at the hour and a half mark, neither of us had moved at all. Now, I was sitting on the couch just staring at it, like sinking deeper and deeper into this depression that we're not going to get tickets. Like, it's not going to happen. I didn't get, like my boost didn't work. I feel like I've seen everyone on Twitter get these tickets and already get in. And I'm like, by the time I get in, there's going to be nothing, or I'm never going to get in at all because it wasn't moving. Like, there was no progress. And so Natasha had a photo shoot. So she had left her computer with her brother. Mm-hmm. And I left
my computer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was really debating if I like should, because I had people literally as I was like in the waiting room, I had my friend Danielle and Rebecca and her friend Hannah were like all sitting there waiting. Rebecca's husband was getting her tickets back at home. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I feel like it hasn't moved. Like, should we just go and like go to the photo shoot for an hour and come back? And then, so at that point I prepped Alex. I'm like, this is what you have to do. Like, if you somehow get through, best case scenario is Christine gets through first and you don't have to worry about this. Mm-hmm. And so I leave.
I had like basically I had taken a screenshot of the a stadium and circled the floor area and I was like, this is where we want. These are the goals, but the closest possible, please. And I was so basically me, Natasha, and Alex were in a group chat just updating, and it was just constantly like no movement. And come an hour and a half in, Bellamy is like eating everything because it's 6:30 or something. I don't know. It's late. He needs to go for his walk. So I'm like, I haven't moved. I'm going to set up my dog camera and to point it at the computer so I can watch on my phone. and take him to pee. So I am taking him out, and I'm like, we're going down the steps. We're about halfway down the block when Natasha calls me, and she's like, Christine, Alex got it. And it's been like 5 minutes since he said no movement, and I've gotten no text updates. So completely unprepared.
Me too. Yeah, I was like in the middle of filming a TikTok, and Danielle's like, Alex is calling, and I'm like, give it to me. And then he's calling me. He's like, I don't know how to get in here. I don't know how to, like, I need a code. I'm like, the code is right there in my notes app. Copy, paste it. It should just be copied. Just paste it in there. And then I'm like, why are you calling me? FaceTime me. I can't freaking see anything. And then we FaceTime each other. And then he sees like the first 3 tickets available. And he's like, I'm going to get these. I'm like, wait, no, look for other seats. And I was like, because I'm thinking it was like Loverfest where we had time to like pick our best seats. No, because as soon as like we like went to go pick other seats, those were gone. And then we finally got 3 and we moved into the checkout process. Hold on. We haven't called you yet.
Okay.
We move into the checkout process. We have 3 seats. They're floor seats. I don't remember where they were. I go to check out. My card gets frauded. And I get a text message being like, Ticketmaster fraud. I'm like, yes! Go through! And I'm like, Alex, try it again. And he tries again, doesn't go through. Tries it again, doesn't go through. And they're like, 3rd time you have to go back and pick different seats. I'm like, fuck! And that's when I call Christine.
All right. So I get this phone call halfway down the street from Bellamy, and I'm like, oh my god, thank God you got through. My cell didn't even work. I didn't even get a text message. What's going on? And she's like, get on FaceTime. So like, I get on the FaceTime, and she's like, we need a card. The card didn't work. We already had tickets, and they went away. So I spin around and start sprinting with Bellamy for my apartment because I'm just out with poop bags. Like, I have no card on me. So I'm like, I'm on a walk. I don't have my card. And then Alex said, like, why are you on a walk?
You on a walk.
Like, you don't understand. I thought you would update me. So I'm fucking sprinting, and I don't run. And Bellamy's like, what the hell's going on? I haven't even peed. Like, nothing has happened. So sprint up the stairs to my apartment. Like, I think it took me like 30 seconds. I feel like I went so fast. I got in there.
You got there so quickly.
We're gonna lose it. So
he kept trying to get different seats the entire time you were running there, because every time he picked 3 and tried to go to the checkout process, it kept being like, another fan got them. And Alex was just like so calm yet frustrated. It was so hilarious because the 2 of us were just like, get those. And then he's like, can't get those. Those went to another fan.
He's like, already gone.
I can't get those. And then he's like pointing the phone at the screen while like trying to pick.
And I keep being like, those. So we get the card though, and he finally does get 3, and they're on the floor. So we're freaking out. And like I read off my card, we get it in, I'm just reading off like, and he's like, 4, 7. So we get it all in. And then we're just like staring at the screen because, you know, every step of the way it can kick you out, and it just says like, wait 1 moment, and we're all just staring. It's like the longest moment of our lives. And then it went through, and we just, I was like so elated, jumping around and screaming over the phone. And I wish we were filming it because I filmed like a second later, so I did get the tail end of it. But like, oh my god,
I know. I wish my friends were like, because I was just standing there in like angel wings and a poof dress in the middle of a forest.
I know.
And I was like on my phone. I'm like, are they going through?
And like I was shaking. So I'm over here in my like dog walking clothes and my beanie, and I'm like recording this for TikTok, and Natasha looks amazing, and I'm just like this troll in my head. But we got tickets, and I was so excited. They're on the floor. Like, we had to pay an exorbitant amount of money, which was unfortunate.
It's too much money.
Yes, but we got tickets, and I was just so happy that we got anything at all. I couldn't believe it. I thought that we weren't going to get tickets. I still hadn't gotten in on my end. It was still hadn't moved.
Yeah.
And so I leave. Bellamy like literally just stood by the door this entire time. He was like, "We're going for a walk."
I just think it's like it's crazy how like I definitely didn't have a booth sign. I never bought any of the Taylor Swift tickets. Like, you bought them, and I was just able to get through. And so it happened to so many other people, and like some of the prices. Like, have you seen the prices for, like, the pre-sale tickets? Like, some of them were up to $45,000.
No, I mean, that's resale. That's for scalpers reselling them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those are not, like, the actual prices. Scalpers are buying them and reselling them on StubHub immediately.
Well, and then they also, did the variable prices for it. So, like, depending on, you know, how many people were wanting those tickets, they were going up in prices.
Yeah, it was absolutely ridiculous. Like, I never even thought that there would be tickets this expensive on sale.
Yeah.
It was insane to see how expensive the nosebleeds were in LA. I don't remember, but they were expensive. I know people were paying like $150 for nosebleeds. See, I've been to every tour except for 1989. So, like, the pricing change is mind-boggling. Like, I got the pit for Red. I paid $99 for those. And I thought I was paying so much money at the time. I was like, it's the pit. I don't care. And I remember for Speak Now, I was at the top of the stadium in the nosebleeds, and I had paid like $75 for that. And I was like, I'm never doing this again. I couldn't even hear her. I literally could not hear her, and I could not see the video because we were above it. So she was a speck on stage, and I was like, if I can't get seats down on like the first two levels, I'm not going because I can't hear or see, and it was just depressing.
Yeah. I only went to 1989, and I was up in a box seat, like, on the side of the stage, and it was nice being a box seat, but, like, I wasn't really, like, a part of the concert, it felt, and she was very far away. And then, obviously, for Rep Tour, we were on the floor.
That was amazing.
The
Rep Tour was
amazing.
Amazing. Our seats were on the floor, and they weren't in the first section, but they were in the second section, and it was still, like, absolutely amazing. And for Fearless, I was on like the first level up, but this was when she wasn't doing stadiums yet. It was a regular concert hall. Like, I don't know it's an arena. I think it was an arena. And yeah, I was like in, you know, like the 100s on the side, and that was good too. But nothing was as good as like Red and Rep. Being on the floor is the coolest experience at a Taylor Swift tour. But oh shit.
Yes.
So when once you experience it, you're like, if I don't get this again, it's not gonna be the same. But you have to get so lucky. I feel so incredibly lucky that we got those tickets, that you were randomly boosted up to the front of the line. I mean, it just felt very, very hopeless, and I'm so sorry for anyone who wasn't able to get through. A lot of people got from the Capital One sale yesterday. I think people had better luck. I know a few of our friends got floor seats in New Jersey, so that was really cool to hear. But it was absolute chaos, and I hope that in the future they go back to using the method that they used for Rep and Lover, because that seemed to work really well and was prioritizing fan involvement.
Yeah. I saw a girl on TikTok who literally created a fake, like, email account, like, got verified, and then got into the sale, like, within 10 minutes. So, like, she was trying to prove a point, being like, the boost didn't help, obviously.
Now, I mean, I saw a whole thread about this. Like, everyone who got the boost didn't have any luck, which means that the boost was bullshit. And that's very upsetting because it's just like we worked so hard to get those Lover tickets. It was just like this, like there was a lot of waiting and a lot of like, you know, because we worked for rep. We did all like the watching and like the tweeting and the sharing and like all this stuff to like boost you in line. And then it was supposed to carry over for Lover, and then Lover didn't. We got the tickets, but they didn't matter. And now it's like nothing mattered. Yeah. Sad times.
Well,
but happy times, but sad times.
Yes.
Ticketmaster. I mean, obviously Ticketmaster was not ready because they organized it poorly. Like they're saying that there are 14 million people and they weren't expecting it, but they didn't think it through when they set up the verified fan system.
Do we want to move on in our news section since that was a whole story?
We should. I mean, I feel like that was an important story. I think everyone wants to talk about Taylor Swift stuff. But yeah, we can move on. Do you want to bring up your story with the princesses?
Yeah. So Disney just announced that they are in the works on a new Princess Diaries movie, Princess Diaries 3. There's not a lot of news about it, but it was an announcement and I'm very excited about it. I know there's been like talk about like, you know, bringing Anne Hathaway and Chris Pine and hopefully Julie Andrews back. So I am so excited. I want another movie. It's going to be so good.
That's very exciting. I don't really remember how much I liked the second movie, but I obviously really enjoyed the first
The second
one.
movie is so fun.
I guess I have to rewatch
it's like it's like the love to hate trope, and like it's with Chris Pine and Anne Hathaway, and they're so young and it's so cute. I love it so much.
On a different note, I just saw that 2 months ago a Percy Jackson and the Olympians TV show teaser dropped. And it was just on my YouTube recommended last night, so I clicked on it and immediately started to tear up because the visuals of Camp Half-Blood were like pulled out of my brain. And when that happens, it's so magical and exciting. And it made me so much more excited for the Percy Jackson TV show than I already was because the kid playing Percy sounds like Percy. You know, he's got that voice. I was already happy with him because Ryan Reynolds is as a child's voice. Perfect. And then that trailer, if you haven't seen it, he walks by all the different cabins for the different gods' children. And I was like, oh my God, like this is right out of the book. It looks beautiful. And I'm pumped.
Okay, so let's move on to what right now. Christine, what have you been reading this week?
What right now? I have been reading Sky of House and Breath. And I'm not going to say much about it because everything's a spoiler, but I'm at the 51% mark. So I have moved 10% since we last spoke. I am moving in grooving. I got the audiobook, so I am listening to that when I'm not reading it with my eyeballs. I'm actually reading with my eyeballs, and then I'll put the audiobook on to like brush my teeth so that I'm hearing it again. And then I'll read with my eyeballs before bed, and then I'll put the audiobook on to fall asleep. So I'm like hearing it again. So I catch up on both ends, you know. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Yay. I'm glad. Please just finish it.
I gotta finish it. What about you?
I'm still reading A Merry Little Meet Cute by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone. I think last week when we talked, I literally had only read the prologue, but I'm like more than halfway through. And it is raunchy. I was not expecting this from Julie Murphy.
Good.
I mean, I should have.
That's why it's adult.
But yeah, and like so the whole concept of the book, which I didn't explain last week, is that it's about a like Christmas movie, and they're filming it in this little town called Christmas Notch. And however, the producer of the film, this is like his first array into like the Hallmark movies. It's not called like Hallmark. It's called something else in the book. And but he is trying to keep a very dark secret that he's actually a porn producer, and he's trying to move into like a different industry, in the film industry. Yeah. And so he got this movie, and he's producing it, and then all of a sudden, like, these people, like, all, like, half of his crew and the main star go to this festival, and they all get injured or hurt, and they only have like 2 weeks to film this movie during Christmas, because that's the only time the town allows them to film. And so they're trying to, like, rifle through who could replace the actress, and he accidentally, like, puts in, like, when he's, like, picking up his papers, he accidentally, like, shoves in some headshots from, like, a few of his, like, top porn stars, and one of them is the main girl, and she's, like, a plus size porn star. And then the director's like, who is this? I want her. And then he's like, oh, no, you don't. Like, so it's just, and anyway, she ends up getting the role. And it all happens in, like, the first prologue. Yeah. And so, like, they're trying to keep this secret, and it's like this, like, you know, raunchy porn star playing this, like, very wholesome, chaste, like, role. And she's like, I love this, I want to be an actress. And then her and, like, the main guy, he's like a boy band, he's kind of like a Harry Styles, but, like, not as popular or successful.
Nick Carter.
And yeah, kind of like that. And he's, like, the main dude. So anyways, it's so fun. If you guys want, like, a raunchy, yeah, like, Christmas, yeah, it is. I'm loving it. So
that transitions very nicely into the one movie I watched this week, which was Falling for Love with Lindsay Lohan on Netflix.
I watched it too.
Yes, and you know, I don't really usually watch these Christmas movies because they're very silly, and I just, you know, the silliness sometimes is over the top for me, because it's like the silliness replaces a script in a lot of these instances. Like, there's no good dialogue, and you know I live for that dialogue and that witty banter, and it's not, there's usually just a montage of very generic falling in love instances on these Christmas movies, and Falling for Love was no different. But it was really nice to see Lindsay Lohan in something again.
It was the worst, like, Netflix Christmas movie I think I have ever seen. We watched it the night we got Taylor Swift tickets, and I'm with, like, you know, my photo shoot crew. I have, like, 4 girls in my house, and we're all watching it. We're like, we're like,
it's bad.
Ugh. Like, it was just, like, Kayla's like, this is the movie that Lindsay Lohan decides to make her comeback in?
She figured that it was, like, an easy, really no pressure situation, because the bloopers at the end were actually kind of cute, because it looked like she was having a lot of fun. Did you see that?
I literally said, because I'm reading A Merry Little Meet Cute, I'm like, it was probably more fun to make this movie than it is to watch it.
Yes. Yeah, because they do shoot those movies in, like, 2-week periods. So they're very fast, and it's more about the feeling of Christmas than actually having a good movie, I feel like.
But it was just the Cord Overstreet and Lindsay did not have any chemistry whatsoever. It was it was pretty terrible.
Cord Overstreet. I kept thinking of him as Big Lips, because that's what they called him on Glee.
Yeah, they didn't have any chemistry. The little girl was cute, but she was too much. And honestly, like, most of the Netflix holiday movies are fun. Like, I can stomach most. Like, the Vanessa Hudgens ones are good. There was one with a Castle for Christmas.
I feel like the best one has been the Nina Dobrev one, and it's cheesy, but
that's the best one.
It's cute. Yeah. What is it called again? Like, it's about her going to meet someone that she's met on
catfish. She gets catfished.
Yeah, but she like goes to Pennsylvania after talking to this guy on a dating app for like 2 weeks, and she has nothing to do for Christmas, and she's like, I'm gonna go surprise him. Love hard. Yes, thank you. That one, there's one scene that's very cringe in it for me, the allergy scene. It's really cheesy and dumb, but everything else is like walks the line of cute and cheesy in a nice way. Like, there's actual dialogue in that movie, which is nice. But
I watched actually 2 other movies this week.
Wow, go ahead.
So I saw Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. opening weekend. I literally like flew home and I was like, I'm going to Disneyland the next day, and they've already like premiered the character. I don't want to get spoiled.
You didn't
so
say like that you were someplace. You flew home from...
I was in Pennsylvania.
Okay. You gotta get some context if you're gonna say I flew home.
I flew home from Pennsylvania, so I was where they filmed Love Hard. I was at QVC with a client, and so I flew home, and then we watched Black Panther that night, and it was so good. It was so good. It's just, I mean, I knew it was going to be sad because we lost Chadwick Boseman, and but I just didn't know like how it was going to play out. But it was a movie for like Black women. Like, it was powerful, it was strong, it was there's a lot of grief in it. Like, it's just absolutely like a fantastic Marvel film, and I loved it. Rewatchable, definitely. There's a lot of sad points, so I think that's going to be hard to like rewatch it, because you're kind of going through those grieving processes with the women of Wakanda and the women around him. Yes, but everyone should go see it. It's so good.
And you saw Disenchanted?
Oh, yes. Last night I went to the premiere of Disenchanted. Sorry.
Which is a sequel to Enchanted with Amy Adams?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So Amy was a lead producer on Disenchanted and literally made this movie happen. Like, they've been trying to make it happen for 15 years. The first Enchanted came out in 2007. It's 2022, so it's like 15 years later. When I first saw the trailer at D23, I didn't love what was going to happen, like what I thought was going to happen in the film. And I was so excited because Enchanted is one of my favorite Disney movies. And I was going to go into this and be like, okay, well, hopefully like it's going to be good. It was incredible. Like,
yay!
The music, the story, I cried twice because it was so magical, like on screen. Like I just had a huge shit eating grin on my face. I can't, it's probably one of my new favorite Disney films. Astounding
to hear that.
How good.
And I'm so glad it's on streaming like tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's on streaming
tomorrow. So as soon as like this podcast airs, it's gonna be on Disney Plus. You can watch it.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it was a very cool experience. I'm so glad I got to see it with like the entire cast, and like everyone stood up, and I got to I didn't meet Amy Adams, but she was literally like face to face with me, and we were just standing there smiling at her. And she's just, oh gosh, she's so wonderful. And I saw Patrick Dempsey and James Marsden. So,
cool.
Oh, and it was hilarious. Oh my gosh, it was
okay,
so
wait,
funny. Okay.
Stop. I'm very excited. Don't tell me more. Can I just say, for anyone who hasn't watched Enchanted because they thought it looked silly, because that was me, I watched it on a plane like a year later and just cried the entire time because I loved it so much, and it was so magical. Like you were saying, it brings back these feelings that I guess we're going to be discussing today, like all this nostalgia for early Disney, and it makes all these references in such a clever, funny way. And you're just not expecting it because it looked silly in the trailer, and then it hits you in all these places in your heart and makes you laugh, and it's just so good. So I'm very happy that you loved it, and I'm looking forward to watching that. And Spirited with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell, which is like a modern remake of Christmas Carol.
Is that coming out this weekend?
It's coming out tonight. I am so excited. I thought it came out last week, and I was ready on Thursday. I was like, I'm gonna watch Spirited today. I'm so excited because I love Ryan Reynolds. And then it wasn't out till this week, but it came so fast, so it's fine. I'm watching that, and I'm watching Enchanted this weekend.
Yay.
Exciting. And let's just run through TV really quick because we really got to move on to our main discussion. I have been watching The White Lotus. It is excellent. Highly recommend. Oh my gosh, this latest episode was so good.
I want to watch it so bad. I want to watch White Lotus. Alex and I started the English on Amazon Prime, and it is with Emily Blunt and Chaske Spencer, who played Sam Yuli in Twilight or New Moon through
I
Breaking
can't
Dawn
believe
Part 2.
that. That's cool.
He is a leading role. Like, he is a leading man. He is so good. Emily Blunt is fantastic. The show takes itself very seriously. I wish it had a little bit more like
Levity.
comedic levity, yeah, but so good. It's beautifully shot too, and I'm very much enjoying it. It's like an epic like Western romance. I love it.
All right.
All right, let's move into our main discussion, which is how Disney movies have subconsciously shaped us and what we discern from them growing up.
You're just reading what I wrote down.
Yes.
Yeah, so our main discussion today, we're basically going to be interviewing each other about, favorite Disney movies, most influential characters, most influential this, that. So it's going to be fun. Let's dive right in. Do you want to tell me about what your top 3 most influential Disney movies are? And let's see, what does this say about you?
My top 3. Okay, so, all right. So my favorite princess
not your
growing
favorite movies necessarily.
My most influential. Sorry. Okay,
most
I'm trying. Okay, all right. So number 1, I would say would be Cinderella. I think because I was Cinderella multiple times for Halloween, and I was obsessed with the concept. I didn't know what it was back then, but like rags to riches and happily ever after. And she set the bar for that. And so literally, if you think about my life and what I do now, it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I think she like that film, even though like it's not the best, but it is still like a very magical movie.
Why do you say it's not the best? I mean, I think it's kind of boring, but what is it not the best for you?
Well, I think because in modern times, it's like, no.
I hate the mice. I hate them so much.
Oh
mice made her dress. Rodents. A bunch of rats. Okay, sorry. They give her food.
I think because, oh my goodness. Okay, that's not what I think. Because for modern times and like the feminist agenda, even though she takes it into her own hands and she's the one who like makes her life happen, but her happily ever after is marrying a prince, and she picks marriage and love over like making herself better, or I don't know.
It's a very classic can pick it apart gender roles story.
It's very classic
from like the 50s. I don't know. Did it originate from like a Grimm Brothers story? Like, was it before that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it originated from a Grimm Brothers story.
All right. I wonder what.
But I was always obsessed. Well, it's kind of like because of the glass slipper. I don't know. I've always loved the Cinderella concept, like Ever After, like all of those.
Ever
films.
After is by far my favorite. It is excellent. Mm-hmm. Cinderella's like amazing. Here, and then Ever After. Oh, you can't.
But I would say that
I'm
would be
holding
like,
Ever After much higher than Cinderella.
Chrissy, what would be like your most influential movie?
So I'm torn here. So we get to pick 3, and I feel like I'm torn between Aladdin and Mulan as being my most influential. Aladdin was the first movie I remember seeing in the theater, and my belief in magic, and I feel like really, really ties back to like watching these early movies like Aladdin and Mary Poppins and feeling so like invigorated by the concept of like a magic carpet and a genie and 3 wishes. I was obsessed with that idea of a genie, and I came home from that movie and I really wanted a tiger. I was 3 years old, and my dad said that he would get me a tiger as a pet. And he shouldn't have told me that because it confused me for a long time.
Oh my god!
Because I thought you could get a tiger. He took me to the Disney store though and got me like a little stuffed animal eventually. But at first, I thought we were gonna get a tiger. Because Raja was so cool, and then I was Jasmine for Halloween, and I thought I was like the coolest in her cool blue outfit, and I mean she's like the original crop top trend.
Jasmine was honestly, I was thinking about this. She was so cool because she was so fierce, and I feel like she was like in the timeline of Disney princesses, she was probably the most the one who was like most confident and unafraid to ask for what she wanted.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she was a princess,
and
he was a quote street urchin, so there was that power dynamic difference that kind of probably gave her her confidence.
That confidence.
Yeah,
that's very true.
But it was such a magical film, and I very vividly remember that scene for the first time watching her in that when she was trapped in the hourglass as a child.
You mean slave Jasmine?
Yes. I mean, obviously, it was trapped in the hourglass. Like, as a child, that was scary. That was stressful AF. And the big snake, Jafar turns into this giant snake. That was scary. Genie, I just loved him so much. I wanted to rub a lamp and have a genie, and I always was like, what would be my 3 wishes? I gotta plan them so that when it happens, I'm ready. And okay, the other one that I'm kind of split on the most influential was Mulan, which came out, I feel like I was a little older, but was it like 1996? Was I like 6 or was it 98? 8 or 6? I don't know. But
Mulan, I think it was 98.
Okay, yeah, I knew it was one of those. 96 was Toy Story.
Or 99.
It was, so I was 8 or 9, and it was the coolest Disney movie I had ever seen because I'm like obsessed with like gymnastics and like cheerleading and the like tumbling and all that stuff, and Mulan was this kick-ass warrior who defied the rules. It was like, and even though they told her she couldn't do something, she was like, I'm taking my dad's place. And then her inspiring journey of like being bad at all this stuff at first, that montage changed my life. I feel like I picture it all the time. It inspires me all the time. Like I always talk about this, but just like I always want to climb a pole with like 2 ribbons with those weights attached to it like she did. She climbs this really big just like wooden beam to prove that she could get this arrow that the guy shot up there their first day, and she does it, and I'm like, be a man, you must be strong. It's just like the best montage Disney has ever done. And
well, also she has Mushu, and Mushu's also hilarious,
very
and
funny,
like the best sidekick.
I love Mushu.
I just remember I remember loving this film. However, like because she had to pretend to be a boy, it like the parts that I loved about it were like how she was falling for what is his name?
Yeah, Captain. I can't remember.
Okay, the parts I loved were because she was falling for the general or captain. Yeah. Li Shang. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.
Shang. And that's what I loved about Mulan was the secret, like, is he gonna love her after he finds out that she's actually a female?
They had such chemistry that either way it was like something's happening here. And it's kind of cool that they had so much chemistry. Like, I feel like they had romantic tension even before he knew. So it was like Cicely, no matter what, it was about her personality and not her gender.
Which movie do you feel like you remember seeing? Like, what was the first one? This was like a hard one for me to figure out. But what was yours?
I remember. Okay. So the first Disney movie I remember seeing is Aladdin, but the first movie I remember renting is The Little Mermaid, and my dad ripped the VHS. You know how we rented it, and then I think he ripped it onto one at home because I wanted to keep watching it over and over again, and he didn't want to rent it, so he put it on like a blank VHS. So I remember having one of those VHSs that you buy and always watching it, and it said like Little Mermaid written in handwriting on it. And there were like some parts of it that would like be like, you know. You know how VHS sometimes would go gray and not work? Yeah. But I don't really, now watching The Little Mermaid, I don't really like it, but I do love the music.
That's the thing. It's like Little Mermaid. Well, Little Mermaid was like my favorite film. Like I always said, like she was my favorite princess, like my favorite film. Watching it now, it's not the same. But like as a child, like I adored her. She was, I think, the first Disney princess I dressed up as. But I just liked it because of the music and other things, which we'll get into. But I don't know.
What was your first movie that you remember? Oh, you want to?
No, it's okay. Toy Story, I remember going to the movie theaters to see. We were so young though, but I do remember like going to see, maybe it was Toy Story 2 that I went to go see, because if his Toy Story came out in 96, we were 96. Only 2, so it must have been the second one, because that's when the one with Jessie, and I really liked Jessie. And but that's not it's a Pixar film, but still it's still a Disney film.
Yeah, I wasn't really thinking as much about Pixar. I do remember going to see Toy Story, and then I saw Toy Story 100,000 times because Olivia wanted to watch it every fucking day of my life, and I hated it because I was like, I'm sick of Toy Story, and she was like 3 years old, and she's like, I want to watch Toy Story. So yeah, I don't really love Toy Story like everyone else. I don't know if it's because Olivia ruined it for me.
I don't love it either. Like, I don't think I feel like I still haven't seen Toy Story 3. Like, I know what happens, and I know it's sad. Wow. No. Yeah, I know. I avoid it at all costs.
I saw it in the theater. That was an experience in the theater. Like, it just, everyone being like, wow, are they really about to do this in a Toy Story film? And not knowing, together, it was, I cried, and I didn't care, but I cried because they made me care. And at the end, I cared. But like, the first movie I actually remember seeing in the theater is a non-Disney movie that made a big impact on my childhood, and that's We're Back, because I was obsessed with magic and dinosaurs.
What is We're Back? I don't know this film.
Oh my god. Okay, so it's this guy brings back the dinosaurs, but they're nice. Like they can talk, and they're like humanoid almost, because he gives them like a serum that makes them nice, and they talk. And the more, now that I'm saying it, it sounds so stupid, but he like
they're back and they're nice.
They're nice, and they're like let loose in the city. And I feel like there's kids involved. I need to rewatch it, but they're so fun. And then there's this evil doctor who wants to use them in his circus, and he wants them to be vicious. So he like gives them this serum to turn them back into like mean, vicious dinosaurs. And he captures them, and he's trying to turn them into like mean, vicious, like predatory monsters for his show. And so we have to rescue them. And it's really cute, and they're dinosaurs, and I loved it so much. And there's fun music. If I heard the music, I would remember it. Now I want to like play it, but I can't. But I won't play it now. But I'll look it up later. So I remember, and the other movie was Anastasia, which was so
I said the same.
Oh my gosh, that soundtrack.
The soundtrack. I had like the little music box. I had like multiple versions of her outfits as dolls.
Of course you had her outfits.
Of course I did. My mom studied abroad in Russia, so like she was obsessed with Russian culture. So this film, I remember her telling me the story of Anastasia before like the film had come out. And then like we all went to go see it in the theater. And I feel like this movie I remember the most because of how much my mom like had emphasized like all the backstory and how it was rooted in history, because a lot of like Disney movies aren't rooted in history. Like we have Hercules, which is like a Greek god, but most of them are just like fantastical stories that are getting retold for the purpose of entertaining children. I mean, obviously Anastasia was retold in the purpose of entertaining children, because a lot of like the horrific things that happened to the czars were not, I mean, we saw them. Like I just like distinctly remember like the castle being on fire and like she's trying to escape, and then her like running like towards the train to try to get with like Dimitri or him, like, and I was like so devastated. But yeah, this is the one that I remember the most, I feel.
Yeah, I remember just having so much trouble wrapping my head around the fact that she doesn't remember and that all of her family is gone. It was just devastating. As a kid, trying to imagine that is hard because it's so sad. You almost have you have a lot of trouble accepting really upsetting circumstances, and these kids movies really love to throw people into really upsetting circumstances, and that's your first exposure to it. And I guess it's good, like your first exposure is a lot of the time is a fictional story because it's a lot. But yeah, do you have any other one?
Another one I just realized was Balto. Do you remember
dog?
Balto?
It sounds familiar. Wait, All Dogs Go to Heaven. I forgot about that one.
Oh yeah, that one. Balto is another animated film that was a retold like true story, and it was about huskies and how they how they were
in Alaska or something?
Yeah, they were in Alaska and they were trying to deliver penicillin to
oh my god, I watched that.
Like flu-torn villages or something like that. And it was about like their journey and like what they faced in Balto. There's like a statue of Balto like in Alaska somewhere. But like when we got Nico, like we were like, oh, we have like our own little Balto now.
Oh, I remember that. That's so weird. I feel like the barest minimum memory of that movie of delivering like the medication. All right. Do you have one more influential movie that you want to share with us?
I would say probably Hercules, because I remember my dad being excited about this movie because he's Greek, and so we are Greek. Obviously, we're half Greek, my brother and I. And it was a movie that both Alex and I loved, because usually like Disney films are, you know, there's a lot of princesses. Then we had Aladdin, and there's not a lot of like boy films, and really until like Pixar came along. And this was like a Disney animated film that we could enjoy together, because I thought Hercules was cute and I was obsessed with Meg, and she was just like I think she was like the first character where like she had such like sex appeal, and I was just like, oh, I love her. Like she's Jasmine. So confident and sassy. True. Jasmine. But like the, you know, like the way she says
was
Herc,
more outward,
and
yeah, she was very sassy.
Yes, very sassy. And yeah, she was like an anti-hero. Yeah. And but it was probably that film, because it was one of the ones that Alex and I could watch together and we both enjoyed.
I loved Hercules as well. I feel like that's another one where I'm like, I was older, but what was I, like 9?
Yeah, we were older.
But okay, let's talk about the movie that you were obsessed with, that you watched over and over. Do you remember which one was that? Was that Hercules?
So the movie we watched over and over, there would be like 2. So Mary
one
Poppins.
For you, one for Alex.
Well, Mary Poppins was one that was the first movie that my mom told me that we sat and we watched all the way through. Like that was the first movie that we were able to do that with. And then that was one like we would watch over and over again. And then the other one was there's so many of them, but it was probably Little Mermaid because that was like the first character I dressed up as and was just obsessed with everything.
So,
yeah. What about you?
I mean, I remember watching the Aristocats so much. I was obsessed with that little Duchess was her name, the little white cat. I don't like cats in real life, but I was obsessed with that cat. I thought she was so pretty. And I love that song. Like, I remember rewatching that scene that everybody wants to be a cat. And they're like falling through the different levels of this old abandoned building or something. This movie
scared me.
Really?
I was scared of her. Yes, I didn't like it.
Why? Mr. O'Malley? The alley cat? And there's like the duck? The goose that's with them?
Yeah, the walking goose. I hated that part. For some reason, it just gave me the ick when I was younger. I was like, That's
so weird. I loved it. And I wanted them to get home so badly. They were so cute. It was like a bunch of kitty siblings. And the mom. And she was so pretty. And I wanted her to fall in love with the alley cat. They did fall in love. It was a romance, Natasha. I can't believe you didn't like it.
I don't love a lot of the animal ones. They're so sad because they get away from their home and they don't have the same type of skills and
to their parents.
They get back, but it's a journey and it is heartbreaking and I don't love it. Like I'd rather see a princess. I don't love the journey. I'd rather see a princess try to get her prince than watching cats struggle, okay?
I was also obsessed with 101 Dalmatians. Like, I was obsessed with Dalmatians.
You in these animal films.
I know. I was obsessed with Beethoven, too, those dogs. And Homeward Bound 1 and 2. Like, all the animal
I love
movies.
Homeward Bound.
But, yeah, I was obsessed with Dalmatians. Like, I watched... I remember my dad had ripped the rental onto a blank tape for me of 101 Dalmatians so I could watch it over and over again. And I don't like it now at all. Like when I was little, Dalmatians must have been so in. I also never see Dalmatians on the street. Like I feel like I've seen one in the last 5 years.
They're kind of aggressive. That's why.
Are they?
I mean, obviously, like, it's up to the owner, any dog breed. But, yeah, a lot of people talk about how aggressive they are. My neighbor in my, old neighborhood had 2 Dalmatians across the street. And I thought they were so cool.
Yeah, they just look so cool. Those polka dots.
They're iconic dogs. Iconic.
Yeah, I mean, they really got put on the map by their fame in all these movies.
I do love the animation style of 101 Dalmatians, and that it's one of the only films that have British accents as well, because it's set in London.
Interesting. I forgot about that.
Yeah, most of them are Americans. But Corella scared the crap out of me.
She was very scary. What character do you feel like? I guess growing up, you felt like you had the most kinship with, that you're like, that's me.
Okay, so I really felt a kinship to Ariel. She was also so young. She's the youngest princess. But the fact that she couldn't speak, because you and I both have this where our families have massive personalities, and every time we try to talk within our family, everyone talks over us. And I always felt like the Little Mermaid, where I couldn't talk and I couldn't speak up because I was I wasn't as aggressive as the rest of my family. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to get away, and there was a lot of that kinship that I felt with her. However, she didn't have any siblings like I did. Well, I guess she did. She had sisters that she hated, which wasn't the case for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the whole like trying to communicate when you can't is
It's really rough.
It's really rough, and it's like you have to be smart about it and how you can best use your voice, and I mean she gets it back, and I feel like I got my voice back. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like maybe that's part of the reason I don't like it so much, because I feel so kind of like like relating in different
cloistered
ways like that. That's an interesting word for it. Cloistered? What is the definition? I'd have to Google like exactly what that means, because it doesn't sound right in my head when
it's
I
like
think cloistered.
it's Wait, let me Google it. I feel like I'm using it correctly.
Okay, I've never used it that way. I don't think I've ever actually used the word cloister.
Having or enclosed by a cloister, as in a monastery. Kept away from the outside world, sheltered. Okay. I think I used it. Yeah. All
right. I mean, like, I think in the suffocating feeling way, like, because it feels so close to home. I remember feeling like she's so quiet and I'm so quiet, and the same thing that you were saying, like our families are loud and will just talk, and I feel like I have no in because I can't jump in and talk, and I feel like I never have anything to say because it's not as loud as what they're saying, so why talk at all? That feeling.
Yeah.
But when obviously got older and realized that it was more the way they were talking that made me feel like that. Very loud and over the top, and like that's why I feel like I have a problem where I interrupt people a lot, because that's the only way I would be able to get words in.
Yeah.
And
it's because you have to interrupt.
Yeah, and I'm working on it, but like whenever I make videos with someone else and they're like, stop interrupting them, I'm like, I'm sorry, it is my video, so I'm trying to steer it when I do that. But I'm working on it, especially in a podcasting environment. Like I need to just like shut up till the end. But it's hard when you grow up in an environment where it's like interrupt or never speak.
A lot of people and a lot of big voices and a lot of storytellers. It's hard.
I remember like when I finally did start finding my voice, like toward the end of high school, I got a little more confident, and I was like talking to a new friend in class, and the teacher was like, Christine, you're being so loud, quiet. And I was like, oh my God, me? Loud? And it's like, I naturally talk loud because, again, I'm in a loud environment constantly.
I remember, this just triggered a memory. Okay, I remember the first time you came, and like we hung out in 2014 when you came over to my house for Vampire Academy, and I was showing my mom videos of you because obviously she was coming to stay with us, and I think I told you this story before if you remember this.
I don't.
And because obviously I had to get it approved by mother, and I'm like, yeah, this is Christine. She's coming to like, stay with us for like a week, to do Vampire Academy stuff. And she's like, she is so loud. Is she going to be like that when she gets here? And I'm like, no, she's not really like that. Like she's just, that's her like onness. Like that's her on personality. And then here comes Christine, Miss like quiet, doesn't want to,
Never
put anyone out. Never speaks, yeah.
I didn't want to upset your mom ever. I was just like, hi, never speak again. I'm just afraid of adults, so like I'm always like that around people's parents. Like, hi. I like to my friends' parents. I feel like I'm always just like, hi, Mrs. Presto, and then like bye, run to the next room. Yeah. I'm an adult now, and I'm still afraid of adults.
Well, honestly, like it takes like a special person to make people feel comfortable, and not all parents make their children's friends feel comfortable, to be like We're friends. It's fine.
I don't think, I think my father instilled like this fear of adults in me. Like I remember being told like not to speak unless spoken to at like the table with lots of adults. And then like I feel like that just like burned into me for the rest of time.
Okay, so why don't we talk about the character that you felt like the most kinship with, and how maybe it relates to all these things we're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I felt a big kinship with the Hercules. Like I felt so. I obviously already talked about Mulan, but like that song, I'll find my way. I can go the distance. Like that is another one that I think so many people find so much strength in that song. And Hercules was like always knocking stuff over and like doing stuff accidentally, breaking stuff and like accidentally ruining things. And I feel like I was doing that all the time and I was trying so hard and I still would like mess up everything by accident all the time. And then like he finds his way and like proves himself, and even though he's like away from his family and kind of all alone, he makes it happen. And I just thought that was so cool and so inspiring to watch. I was annoyed when he got really cocky though.
I feel like you did the same thing. Like you moved all the way from New Jersey to California on your own, and like you've been here for almost how many years? 7 years now?
8 years.
And 8 years. Wow. And like you really went the distance, Christine.
Found my way. That is just such a great, like I feel like the top 2 songs of all Disney music for me are I Can Go the Distance and Be a Man, or is that what it's called? Be a Man.
Yeah. Be a man. You must be swift as a cold sea. Yeah, you didn't have on our little like Q&A, you didn't have favorite Disney songs, and I was like,
oh, did you get it?
The Disney girl in me.
What's yours? I just said mine.
My favorite okay, well, see, here's the thing. My favorite Disney songs are because I love to sing them and I can sing them well. And those are my shower songs. And so that is Little Mermaid, Part of Your World, and my other favorite Disney song is Colors of the Wind from Pocahontas.
Oh. Colors of the Wind kind of
they have
me.
The thing, it's like I don't really
depresses me.
I don't really care about the meat of the song. I care about if I can hit the notes.
What meat song do you like? We're talking about meat today.
Oh, okay. All right. Holy crap. When Frozen came out, then a few months later, my mom passed away.
Wait.
Those songs.
Oh, Frozen 2.
Frozen 2. Frozen 2. When Frozen 2 came out. And all of those songs make me sob like craziness. But like the next right thing, when Anna, like when she thinks, Elsa's gone forever. Yeah,
that's
and like I can't. The absolute, and the whole movie is about their mother. So it's just like, do you remember? This is so sad. Do you remember when you came over and at like the week after my mom passed away, and we watched Frozen 2? That was such a bad idea.
You should have said something.
I know. We're all like, let's watch it. It'll be fun. And then I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, I remember crying.
I'm healing.
The whole movie was like, I mean, it was very funny, but also very sad at points.
Oh yeah.
But that's what like made it so impactful too. It like hits you real hard.
Mm-hmm. All of those films do. It's like crazy. I never used to cry at any Disney films, and now it's like when there's any type of extreme emotion, I'm just crying now. It just happens.
I've always been like that.
Maybe I just like I took a lot of therapy.
To open the cry vein. Okay, let's go a little more fun here. Did you have Disney cartoon crushes growing up?
Oh yes, the first one makes a lot of sense. My favorite Disney crush is Prince Eric.
That does make sense.
That's
your type. That's your type.
That is my type. That is every man I've ever had a crush on looks just like him. Yes, he's Prince Eric. He's a little bit of a dum-dum, but he's also like so like he's so nice, you know, because he just like takes this random girl who's like wrapped up in like some canvas, and he's like, hey, are you okay? Can I help you? And she can't speak, and he gives her a whole like princess room, like puts her up, feeds her, and then and they actually go on dates, you know, like it's not just like I fall in love with you like the moment, like they have the whole boat scene. And
Ariel
like,
never speaks, though.
I know.
It's kind of like,
I know.
She never communicates in any way, shape, or form. And he's like, I love you. Like, there's no writing, there's no sign language, there's just, I got you.
Okay, but also Prince Eric has the best castle. And let me tell you why.
I thought you were going to say best eye contact.
No. Okay. Out of all the princes, who do you think has the best castle? And I'll tell you why Prince Eric has the best one.
I don't pay attention to the castles.
Oh my gosh.
Why do you know about their castles?
Because Disneyland.
My guys don't have castles. I picked Aladdin, Mulan, the guy from Mulan, the general Li Shang, and I picked Flynn.
Yeah, Mulan's house is much better.
Flynn is like a con artist. That's my type.
Okay.
That's my type.
Okay. So Prince Eric has the best castle because it's on the water and it's like beachy and it's very roomy and it doesn't have that many floors.
Do you think the other castles aren't roomy?
Well, if you think about like the Beast Castle, it kind of feels a little bit like claustrophobic because it's like cold and dark and damp, and there's like smaller rooms.
Kept prisoner.
But my other crushes are Prince Naveen.
Who is that?
A lot of people are the Princess and the Frog. Tiana's.
Oh, I've only seen the Princess and the Frog one time, so I don't know anyone's name.
You should watch it again. The only thing that I love the Princess and the Frog. The one thing about that film, and it's our first Black princess, is that half the film,
yeah, she's just a frog.
They're fucking frogs.
Yeah, that was the part that I wanted them to be humans.
Yes, I want them to be humans. I want to see. Funny enough, this is a fun fact. Princess and the Frog, even though for most of the film she's a frog, she actually has the most costume changes or like dress changes out of any other princess. No, not because she's a frog, because she's like a working woman and
yeah, she owns a restaurant, right?
Different.
I like that song.
Yeah. Yeah. So Prince Naveen, I would say, is I think the most handsome prince out of all the Disney princes. He's really hot. And then Flynn Rider. Gotta look him up.
I do love Flynn.
Then yeah, Flynn is number 3 for both of us because he's just. I feel like I can't take a person who's that like sarcastic and good with his words because sometimes I can't play that game. It's hard for me to play that game.
It's my favorite game.
And like keep up. I know you're good at it. I am not. And then number 5. Oh wait,
can I just look up Prince Naveen?
Yes.
Oh, he is cute, but I mean, he kind of looks really pompous in this picture. But I guess, like, he does other things.
At first, he's pompous.
He looks like Hercules when he's annoying.
Why do you have not Hercules on your list?
Because I didn't think Hercules was cute. I just identified with his struggles.
Why is he on your list?
I just wanted to say that I don't like his look. I thought he was, he's not my type,
But you like his struggles. Okay. Do you like skinny? Story. Do you like skinny Hercules?
No. He's got like a
neither
weird,
version.
Like, spiral chin thing going on.
This rings true because you also don't love Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Captain America and Hercules have very similar stories.
Same vibes.
Yeah, same vibes.
Same. But I don't think he has a similar story to Hercules. I mean, I guess I see that, but I don't know. Captain America annoys me with his righteousness, his self-righteousness all the time. Like, there's nuance. Get used to it.
I also have Tarzan on my list.
Yeah,
and
I feel
Kristoff.
like that fits for you. Wait, Kristoff is Frozen?
Yeah, it's Anna's.
Okay. Yes, he's cute. I like Kristoff. He's a little cinnamon roll man.
Yes. Like I feel like out of all of these people, I would mesh well with Kristoff or Prince Eric.
I feel like Prince Eric is just like a cardboard cutout man. Like, I don't see any personality in him. Maybe I don't remember, or maybe he is like that.
I don't. You know what? You might be right, and I just might like him. Like I like Henry Cavill because he's just like cute.
He's a handsome man.
Yeah.
He's nice though. I see what you're saying. He took her in. He was like, "Let me give you a house and a fork to eat your food with." Okay, switching gears. What Disney movie scared the shit out of you? Because they were scary, and a lot of them scared me. You want to go first here?
Okay, the first one that came to mind was Bambi, because I can't with that movie.
I only watched it once. I did not like it.
No. It again, I'm not a big fan of like all the whole animal movies. And then when you bring in some traumatic experiences where they lose a mom, it's not it. I don't care how cute it is after the first 15 minutes, it is traumatizing. So that's a big no. And then I also I truly didn't love I mean, the other movie that scared me probably would be like Sleeping Beauty or Snow White and like the evil witches and queens and those. So
those were scary.
Yeah. Terrifying.
I just remembered The Swan Princess. I know you didn't watch it till I made you watch it like when we were in our 20s. But oh my god, I loved that movie as a child. Anyway, The Swan Princess was like the fun version of like Sleeping Beauty to me. It just I know Sleeping Beauty was a different story, but I feel like they have similar vibes, and Swan Princess was funny and had amazing music and cute characters, and oh my god, do you remember the music?
I do. I know the music now. Like, I really liked it after you showed me. Yeah. There was like this one point in our early 20s where I was like rekindling my love with Disney because I had just like gotten a Disneyland pass again. And I was like, I'm going to rewatch all the movies. So Christine and I like watched a bunch of them together. And she showed me The Swan Princess. I had never seen it before. I've seen people cosplay it, but I didn't know it. But it was my idea. It's good. I like it.
It's so good. This isn't my idea of fun. That song branded in my mind. And that song, practice, where he's like practicing his archery. And then there's one where they're trying to get the map out of the castle. And I'm blanking on the song right now, but it's also great. That was a Disney-worthy movie. And it wasn't Disney. I think it was Fox? I can't remember.
If it's Fox, then I don't know if it's Fox because Fox
Maybe
had
not.
Anastasia, and
I don't know what it
that's
was
on
then.
Disney Plus.
But it was great. You should
What
watch
movie
it.
scared you?
Okay, what movie scared me? The Fox and the Hound was the saddest thing I've ever seen in my life. I don't know if you remember. Okay, so they're best friends. This fox and this hound. And the hound is a hunting hound. And his owner is a hunter. And the hunter wants to kill the fox. And he's making him hunt the fox.
Oh.
And they become best friends when... I'm like crying thinking about it. They become best friends and I feel like the fox dies at the end or something. Or maybe he escapes, but like the owner makes the hound hunt him. And it's so devastating. I don't remember it as well now. I just remember being like traumatized by it. And I feel like I watched it a couple times because I loved their friendship. Like they were so cute together because they were best friends. And then it's really traumatizing. And of course, okay, Pinocchio is the scariest fucking shit I've ever seen in my life. And I can't even watch it now. I I can't even watch it now. It's so scary. I don't know why I feel like
they remade it.
I feel like it was made to scare children into like listening to their parents or some shit. One of the boys are kidnapped and taken to an island where they turn into fucking donkeys, and then they're sold to like people to work on farms. The donkeys, I don't even remember exactly, but it's horrible. Like the best part of Pinocchio is Donkey in Shrek. That is the only part that made Pinocchio worth it, because I remember that just being so scary, that island where all those boys were after they were taken away from their families.
Like, that's okay, that is a very terrifying part, but like even the beginning of the film where it's like, if you tell a lie your nose grows.
Well, that's
like
after...
what the fuck.
Yeah, it's such a weird plot now that I'm thinking about it. So, like, there's this puppet, and he's come to life, and then he turns into a real boy, and then he's kidnapped and taken to an island where he's going to turn into a donkey with lots of other boys.
And then, well, then doesn't he escape, and then, like, a whale swallows him?
Yes, and then they're inside a fucking whale.
There's,
like that's
someone
horrifying, too. It's like his dad's with him, and they're like rowing on this tiny little platform, like a bunch of logs tied together as a boat, and then they get eaten by a whale. Who made this story? No. And what were they on when they wrote it?
I don't know. It's one of their first Disney movies, because first was Snow White.
Well,
and then there was another one, and then I think it was Pinocchio or Dumbo, and then Pinocchio, then Dumbo.
It must have been a Grimm Brothers story, right? Because this rings like one of their stories, like all horrifying.
I think so. I don't know. But Pinocchio's, yeah. And okay, every time that they have the electrical light parade at Disneyland. Okay, they have that float with the city on it, and every time it comes by, I'm like, no, thank you. Why is this in the parade?
That's a Pinocchio float?
Yeah, they have the little city that all the boys go to.
Oh, ew. Why would we ever want to see that?
Yeah, they have it in the electrical light parade.
Oh my god. And the other movie that freaked me out was The Hunchback of Notre Dame. And then we rewatched it in our 20s, and I was still like, this is horrifying. I hate it. That villain guy, horrifying. That song about fire?
What is... Yeah, Hellfire, Hellfire.
I hated that movie so much, and I still do.
I put it in here somewhere. I can't remember.
You have it on like movies you were obsessed with as a child. You were obsessed with The Hunchback of Notre Dame?
Well, yeah, Alex and I love that one. Again, it was something that we both liked because, like, obviously, Hunchback was a new... Well, I loved Esmeralda, like, with her high kicks, like, she was the coolest, okay? But, like, Hunchback...
no one was cool. Everything was depressing.
Well, when we rewatched it, too, like, we were baffled by the music, because, like, we were like, this isn't...
It was, like, lame.
This isn't good.
It was, like, very dramatic and sad. It was not Disney music.
Well, then... on TikTok, like last year, the main song from Hunchback started trending again, and it was so epic.
Okay, so what Disney character do you absolutely hate very hard?
Okay, Vanellope von Schweetz from Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph?
Exactly.
Does that even count as a movie?
Yes, it does. It's a Disney animated film. It's not Pixar, actually.
I don't even remember this person.
Yeah, because I don't love Wreck-It Ralph. It's one of my like least favorite Disney animated films. And every time, the reason why, she's annoying, okay? She's like one of the most annoying characters I think I've like that's in any Disney film. And so many people like to Disney bound as her, and it gives me the ick, and I can't stand her. They put little like candies in their hair because that's what like her outfit is, and I'm like, ew, that means like someone sucked on candies and they're stuck in her hair.
Little girl?
This little girl.
What? You hate her?
Yes, she's annoying.
This is so weird. I thought it was like some villain.
No.
Oh my god. She gives you the ick. She's talking about the little girl from Wreck-It Ralph.
Yes. Don't like her.
God. Oh, well,
thank you, next.
Okay. Mine is the Beast. I hate him. I hate him so much. He's a terrible. And I don't know why he's the hero of the story, and he's never made to pay for his misgivings. He's a kidnapper. He wants to kill them. I don't understand. He keeps her prisoner, and her dad is in the basement. Like, this is.
He lets the dad go.
Yeah, in exchange for her. Like, what the heck? And then, like, he's so mean, and she falls in love with him. It's just the dumbest story, because he doesn't redeem himself in any way. Like, oh, he was a little nice? Let's lower the standards for men some more. Like, it's okay to imprison me if you feed me. Like, if you play in the snow one day. Like, I can't with this story. Oh. Yeah.
I don't know. I love the tropes of that whole that really, like, Beauty. I love Beauty and the Beast as an adult. It's my favorite Disney film now. And
if he redeemed himself in some way, like, I can sit here and tell you that I'm in love with Damon, a serial killer who murders people and is horrible. But the Beast doesn't ever show me a different side of himself. Okay, he's just like, quote, nice. He never's like, I'm so sorry. I realized this was very wrong. I'm going to reform my ways. Like, yes, I kidnapped your dad. That was horrible. Like, there's no admitting to his faults and taking responsibility for anything he's ever done.
Yeah, I guess you're right, but I still love him.
He's not even cute. He's a big monster.
I don't know. It's like you can look. That's the thing. It's like Belle falls in love with him against all of the odds, and it's just like, that's what I love about it. It's so romantic, but it shouldn't be.
Stockholm syndrome. Against all odds.
All right. What character would you morph into voluntarily for 24 hours?
I didn't write down an answer for this. I kept getting scared that, like, something would backfire, but I think I would pick Anna or Elsa. Maybe Elsa. Aww. Elsa. I'll pick Elsa. Yeah. Because I want
Elsa has cool powers.
Yeah. And she can sing
I
really
would pick Belle.
Oh my gosh. Well, if I was Anna, so for 24 hours, Elsa, I would get her on the app so that we could get a number 3 with her love story. And I know that, like, everyone's like, she doesn't need a love story, but, like, I want her to find a partner. What do you want her to be alone forever? Anna has a partner.
She has her family.
What if
She has Anna and Kristoff.
Yeah, but, like, they're going to start their own family. And they're not going to have as much time for her.
Yeah. It sounds like our lives. The cool ants.
Like, I am cool and independent, but I still want a partner. Like, you still want someone to share your life with.
Yeah.
It's time for our Fuck, Marry, Kill of the Week.
Woo!
All right. Today's Fuck, Marry, Kill is a special rice, spaghetti, or lasagna edition.
Why?
So, would you fuck, marry, or kill rice, spaghetti, lasagna? Give me your choice.
Ew. No. Why is it food? I'm changing the words. It's gonna be, we can kill and we can marry, but we aren't having sex.
Kill, you can have a bite.
Or a bite. Thank you.
Yeah, there you
go. Does the spaghetti have sauce on it, or is it just buttered noodles? You do whatever you want
to any of these things, but they have to be this type of pasta. I'm gonna marry spaghetti. I already know. That's my one true love. OTP, Christina Spaghetti. And rice is going to be, I think, who I murder because I'm not a fan of it so hard. And lasagna, I'll have a bite, but I don't love it. Like, it doesn't have substance. It's more about the food than the pasta, and I'm more about the pasta than the food. The face you're giving me right now. Just pick.
Okay, I'm going to kill...
Who?
I'm going to kill lasagna.
Good.
I don't like lasagna. I don't know why people like lasagna. It's mush.
It's not that good.
It's not good. I'd rather have like a nice rigatoni with like a baked rigatoni.
Same.
Baked
Way
pasta.
better.
I don't want some flat pieces of pasta.
Yeah, it's so floofy. Also, it's either hard because they overbaked it,
can go
or
to
too
die.
Soft because they overcooked it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and if people always like give it to you when like you're going through a hard time, it's like that's the last thing I want to eat. I'm sorry, either it's like it's crunchy or it's bad.
Like it fits the casserole dish stereotype because you put it in a casserole.
Oh my gosh, and then it comes with the cheese that has no taste. What is that called?
Wait, I fucking love ricotta cheese. Excuse me.
I like ricotta cheese, but not in lasagna.
Not in lasagna. Because lasagna ruins everything. It ruins all the food that's good separately.
Exactly. Okay, so I'm going to marry spaghetti if it has meatballs and sauce with it. And then I'm going to have a bite of rice because I love rice. Like risotto. Could fuck that shit up.
Risotto's like the mushiest mush to me. It's like...
Risotto's so good.
All right, it's time for chapter chat!
Yay!
All right. So this week we read chapters 5 and 6 of ACOTAR. Every week we are doing a reread of... We've been doing 2 chapters, but we're going to start doing 1 because the chapters have started getting fuller. And we're already pressed for time in this segment. So next week we'll be reading just chapter 7. But today we did chapter 5. So in this chapter, Feyre is being lugged to Perinthian on Tamlin's horse. And we're starting a new little rating system here where we're going to every chapter be like, that was interesting, I loved it, or next chapter. So for this one, I'm gonna rate it next chapter because it was kind of just
I agree.
there. Yeah, I mean, we needed to get her to Perinthian, and
yeah,
I mean,
it was a little bit of like a world building chapter.
Yes, well. I feel like the first few chapters have really just been building the world of the humans, and because we need to know how they visualize like what they think of the Fae before she goes in there to understand her mindset. And yeah, on the way there, she's just like looking for ash trees. Like she's gonna be able to hop off the horse and frickin' cut down a tree to make a new arrow. Come on, Feyre. And then she tries to talk to Tamlin and he just knocks her out, shuts her up with his magic. Which I was like, bitch? Really? She just asked you what your name was. Like, come on. Like, yes, she was
bitch slap.
Like she was thinking about murdering him with her knife, but like, can he read her mind? I don't understand that. It was like as she was thinking that he knocked her out, which is like so annoying because how did he know that? He doesn't read minds. And
well, because he probably didn't want her to know the way through, but like, did he have to knock her out 2 days before they had reached a wall? I don't know.
Yeah, no. So annoying. I hate him already. Then, moving on. She was asleep for 2 days, and she wakes up in chapter 6. And
on a horse.
On a horse. And she's not bound anymore by his magic. And magic tastes like metal. That was an interesting tidbit that I didn't remember. So it tastes like blood and dirty quarters. Ew. What would you...
I love that. Wait, I love that we like know what quarters taste like because we definitely put them in our mouths when we were children.
You definitely at one point accidentally tried a quarter. would you rate chapter 6, Natasha?
Next chapter.
Chapter 6 too?
Oh, chapter 6? Oh, no. Chapter 6 was interesting.
Yeah, chapter 6 is interesting. It's a mid-tier. Like, I was taking in a lot. Do you want to walk us a little through this chapter?
Well, yeah. The thing about this chapter is that okay, this is the first time that gets revealed that, like, everyone's wearing masks. And I don't know why this isn't a bigger deal than it is. And she's just like, I guess this is just a fashion statement, a trend. And, like,
well, she
even, like,
know
the servants.
about it.
I know, but it's like, I just realized how ridiculous it is that these people are wearing masks for the entire novel. And you can't take them off.
Seeing it now, it was, like, very weird. I was like, oh yeah, they're wearing the masks in this book. What a weird curse.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just gonna say it's the first time we see Tamlin in his human form, and
yes,
I decided to picture him as Chris Hemsworth because he feels like moody first movie Thor. How do you?
Oh, that's smart. I mean, I honestly, every time I think of Tamlin, I feel like it's a morph of Sam Heughan from Outlander, and then like actual, like, beast in human form, so, like, with, like, the long red hair, and he's, like, big and bulky.
And he doesn't have red hair, he has golden hair. Lucian
I know
has red hair.
Yeah, I know that, but Lucian, I picture no, he's not Lucian in my head. He's Mr. Smith from Matrix, because he looks like Elrond from Lord of the Rings in my head, because he has the long red hair.
I decided to picture him as Bill Weasley, because Bill Weasley plays everyone and everything now.
That's smart. That's a good one. Oh, yeah. I might change my mind about that.
Yeah, because Lucian's kind of annoying, so
I think he is.
And Bill is annoying.
So is
in a lot of things.
Yeah, so so we come, so this is, like, the first time that we're entering the spring court, and I just love how, like, Feyre was so astonished by, like, how much magic is being used to keep that land in one season, and how, like, how she must feel just being so cold and with her family and trying to keep them warm, and knowing that just on the other side of the wall there's a land where you don't have to ever feel that way.
Yeah, definitely.
And now, like, she's sweating.
She gets off the horse and she hasn't fucking eaten in 2 days, and she's so disoriented. And they walk her right into this dining room where Tamlin's just sat down and become a human and said nothing. And she has heard all the tales, like, never to eat Fae food, just like in the Shadowhunter novels, never touch anything the Fae give you. They're horrifying. Yes. And that was, like, my first thought when I read this too, because obviously I was already deeply entrenched in the Shadowhunter world. But now I'm reading, I'm like, just eat.
Obviously it's fine.
Yeah, like, you're starving, please. But Tamlin's, like, the least welcoming person, and then Lucian's a big jerk too, so I can understand being very afraid.
I don't know. I just knowing, like, how, like, everything ends, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me why they're acting this way. And because, like, they need her, and it's
exactly. He's like,
terrible
she's
about it.
Never even gonna talk to you, and he's like, shut up. And it's just like, if you were just nice to her, maybe this would be an easier process, but you've been a complete douchebag up until this point, like. Ugh, and I know that, like, their friend died, but again, the way that you've treated humans, like, the history between the two species, it should be understandable that your friend that went into enemy territory accidentally got killed, and, like, you brought her back. I mean, if you were just gonna be mad at her, I'm just confused about the whole thing. They need her for the like, we learn very soon that, like, they're cursed and they need him to fall in love with somebody.
Obviously this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling.
Yeah, it's very different, but, like, that baseline is there. And so we see Lucian for the first time. I forgot that he's missing an eye. I forgot that he had a scar down his face.
I totally forgot that.
Yeah. That also kind of lines up with Bill Weasley. He's a courtier. I looked up the definition of a courtier because I never really looked that up. And it's a person who attends a royal court as a companion or advisor to the king or queen.
Oh.
So he's his
like
advisor. Yes. And he's an emissary. So he's sent on different missions for diplomatic reasons for Tamlin. And we learn what Feyre looks like. And I realized that I've been picturing Feyre wrong for ages because I always picture her with like brown goldish, like a golden brown hair. But he says your eyes are like stars and your hair is like burnished gold, which I guess could be like a brown, like a bronzy gold.
Yeah.
But
I had always pictured her as Jessica from
True Blood?
True Blood, yes.
Interesting.
But I was reading this when Daredevil was out, so her hair wasn't as red. It was more of like that
golden
strawberry
color.
blonde.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's who I had always pictured.
J-Law is who popped into my head, Jennifer Lawrence, when I heard that description. I was like, I like her as Feyre. I think she's a fun Feyre. Mm-hmm. I think she'd actually make a great Feyre the more further we go into the books. Like, Florence is a little too intense for me because I feel like Feyre has some
Florence
humor.
Pugh?
I mean, Florence would be great in it too. But, like, Florence, I feel like I want her as a different role. Like, I feel like she'd be great as even Nesta. Yeah. Yeah. And, okay, we also have our first mention of the holy bathtub, the cauldron. And, Lucian says, "This is the hand the cauldron dealt us, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, cauldron! There you are. Mm-hmm. You who haven't finished it yet, like, the cauldron, like, created their universe. And it looks like a giant bathtub. So, I've called it the bathtub in all my book talks because...
Yeah.
It's a bathtub that created their world.
So much of like the backstory of ACOTAR is just like kind of glossed over. Like, we don't really know much about like the treaty. Like, we know some bits about the treaty. We know about like these ancient worlds and like the different kings and queens on. Yeah, it's more about the characters, and but yeah. So like we literally get like one chapter of like that world building, and I'm trying to pick it apart because there's so much that happens, and like there's so much more that could happen, and she really doesn't give us a lot in the beginning because it's just mostly about Feyre and Tamlin at this point.
You learn as you go. Like I like the way she puts it in, so it's not overwhelming with the exposition and backstory, but you get a lot more in Akamath, the next book, and Echo War. Like definitely way more backstory there. But yeah, and then I mean, she has to get dressed, and her Alis is her assigned maid, it seems like, and Alis is like, "Here's a dress." And
Alice.
Like, it's Alice, not
yeah,
Alis.
It is.
It's spelled ALIS.
I that's what they're saying in the audiobook.
Oh my god. And anyway, she gives her a dress. She's like, "Here," and she's like, "I refuse to wear a dress." And so she eventually gets her a tunic and some pants, which I was happy that she eventually got her outfit of choice.
I love how she's like, "Bring me back my clothes," and then like she goes to do a nice gesture, wants to wash them, and then is like, "You want these rags? Really? The holes in the armpits?"
Yeah, they like fell apart in the wash.
I mean, I get it. It's like if it's the only thing that you have left, because also like Tamlin took her knife. She's like all freaked out about the claws that she's like, I don't, when his claws like came in, I don't know.
Yeah, because when she was asleep, it was when she was knocked out that he took her knife. Yeah. So it's kind of sketchy. Like, how did he get it? He had to paw around her clothes.
Well, and then the thing is, we get this chapter, the part where they're walking away from the table, and Alice and Feyre can hear exactly what Lucian and Tamlin are talking about. And it's like, you guys, can you just wait a second to like talk about, because like now it seems the way that Tamlin,
what were they saying?
That Lucian,
because we need
they
context.
were talking one. I'm trying to, what exactly were they saying? They were talking about like who she is and how she's going to help them, and like kind of giving us a clue that there might be something more to the fact that why Tamlin actually took her, and so
why
that was the
Andrus was there in
conversation.
the first place. I think Andrus was there to find a girl.
Yeah.
And she got to him first.
Yeah.
But he obviously underestimated humans and the fact that he should watch his back when he's in wolf form in the forest.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that was chapter 6. I think we ended after she got dressed and maybe she came downstairs or something. I think she's going to eat in the next chapter.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be reading chapter 7 for our next episode. Our next episode is going to be a Twilight Thanksgiving special because Twilight time kind of aligns with like Thanksgiving releases. And did that make sense?
Yeah.
You get what we're saying. And
it's Twivember.
It's Twivember. It's our Twilight episode. So if you want us to touch on any specific Twilight topics, please message us either on Twitter at Fork Fangirls Pod, on Instagram DMs, Those Forking Fangirls, email us at thoseforkingfangirls@gmail.com. Like all of that, we want to include what you want us to talk about. So throw it at us as soon as possible because we're recording on Saturday, so the day after this goes up. So don't worry about telling us Twilight things if you're listening to this past Saturday. But if you're listening to it on a Friday, hit us with your topics you want us to cover, anything Twilight related. We'd love to know. But in general, we'd love if you follow us on those platforms. Thank you so much for listening to the pod. And we're about to record our Patreon-only podcast perk, Fangirl Tea Time. And today we're going to be talking about different societal pressures and how they affect us and our psyche and all that. And you can support the pod on Patreon if you're interested for lots of fun perks. And if you want to listen to Fangirl Tea Time every week, you get the entire episode with Fangirl Tea Time, and it's ad-free. It's great, and there's lots of other perks too. So check out patreon.com/thoseforkingfangirls to see all of those. Or like you could support the pod for free by following us on your favorite podcast app, rating us on your favorite podcast app, just interacting with us on any of our platforms, sharing the podcast with a friend, like tell someone you know who listens to podcasts about the podcast. Like we're so grateful for your listenership. We're so grateful for any support. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast. Yeah. And we will see you next Friday. We have new episodes every Friday. So see you to talk about Twilight for our Twilight special. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.